The New York Giants quietly made a genius move. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you very much. Please just take a quick second, like and subscribe. Trying to build an awesome Giants community here, so every person that joins, the community gets bigger and better. Also, comment below. Tell me what you're most excited about for the Harbaugh era and what you're hoping to see this offseason in terms of, who they draft, who they target in free agency, etc. I actually have 3 bits of news I'm going to share with you today. One is kind of my main point. This is the really important move that's not going to get a lot of buzz nationally, but I think it's huge for the Giants. And then I have two other bits of news. One is something that is about to happen that I think is important too, and then one is kind of more a rumor, but something I hope to see happen as well. But let's start with Charlie Bolan being retained on this staff. I think this is huge for the Giants. Whenever a new coach comes in, they want to bring in their own guys, and it's pretty customary to see most of the position coaches and coordinators not necessarily get fired, but not be retained by the new staff. But Charlie Bolan is a really important one. If you didn't follow him much this past year, he was, I believe, the outside linebackers coach, and he took over as D coordinator after Shane Bowen was thankfully fired. And honestly, the Giants took a huge step in the right direction with him, specifically with Abdul Carter. And that's something that Abdul Carter talked about after the season. He was like, look, I'd love to see Charlie Bolan be our defensive coordinator next year. I like Chuck. He inspires us. He holds guys accountable. He doesn't call guys out. He calls guys up. And if I had to pick a D coordinator, it's him. And if you look at his stats under Bowen versus under Bolan, those two names are kind of tricky to say back to back, but he was incredible under Bowen. So keep in mind, he had 12 weeks under Shane Bowen and only 5 weeks under Charlie Bolan. And he only had 11 less tackles in those 5 weeks, but 5 more tackles for loss, only 1 less QB hit, and 3 more sacks under Charlie Bolan than he had under Shane Bowen. So, he was a completely different player. You multiply, this is about a third of the season, a little less than, you triple that, and this is a 10.5 sack season, an 18 tackle for loss season. So, the kind of numbers he was putting up under Charlie Bolan were, Pro Bowl caliber numbers in those last few weeks. And I think the big thing, too, is, Abdul Carter kind of showed, he needs to be coached hard. He needs to have somebody who can inspire him and push him to be his best. And hopefully, as he gets older and matures, he can have that all-pro level work ethic to match his all-pro level talent, no matter who his coach is. But right now, he didn't show that a lot as a rookie, and so to bring back the guy that really got the best out of him is huge. And then it's also big, they didn't even have to give him the defensive coordinator job. He is going to be the outside linebackers coach, presumably. So that is big time, especially for Abdul Carter. I think he's going to have a monster sophomore season. You could see the talent there. And even beginning of the season when his numbers were disappointing a lot of people, if you looked at the analytics of it, he was doing great in terms of just getting in the quarterback's face. He did a lot of forcing the quarterback to roll out towards Brian Burns, and Brian Burns would get the sack. His pass rush win rate was the highest among all rookie edge rushers. He was a lot better than I think the statistics showed, but the statistics really started to match the level of player he was under Charlie Bolan. So hopefully we'll get a full season of that, and then he'll continue to grow. Next bit of news is it sounds like Willie Taggart is going to be joining the Giants staff. I heard they were interviewing him for the offensive coordinator role, and truthfully, I don't think I would have been thrilled with that. I think he's a good coach. He proved that he a lot of people hear the name Willie Taggart, especially if you're a college football fan, and you're like, nope, do not touch him with a 10-foot pole. because he did a pretty poor job at Florida State, didn't really do a great job at Oregon, and I think a lot of people soured on him. But, like, you don't get a job like that without being a really good coach at a lower level. Like, he spent a lot of time at Western Kentucky actually working with Jack Harbaugh. Then he worked with John Harbaugh at Stanford. And then he ended up he worked with Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. All these J Harbaughs are, they're blurring together. But Jack Harbaugh at Western Kentucky, Jim Harbaugh at Stanford, and then he's been John Harbaugh's running back coach the next few years. So I'm expecting Todd Monken to be the offensive coordinator and Willie Taggart maybe as the running backs coach. Obviously, the Ravens have been one of the best running teams in the NFL under Taggart. I know it helps to have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. You can't give too much credit to Willie Taggart there, but he has been an offensive coach for 20, 30 years and has had a lot of success at a lot of different levels. And was he a great head coach in college? No, not really. He was at South Florida. That's how he got the Oregon job and the Florida State job. So he had success as a head coach, but he wouldn't have gotten jobs like that without being a very good coordinator and a very good offensive mind. So the more offensive talent we can bring in to help coach all these young players on the team, the better. I think that's a big win. Last bit of news. This one kind of came as a surprise to me. There's been some smoke about Rex Ryan being the Giants defensive coordinator. Truthfully, I'd love it. I know he is kind of a big personality. A lot of people don't necessarily like him. But my gosh, if you can take Mark Sanchez and the Jets to the AFC Championship game, you obviously know what you're doing. And it's been a while since he's been coaching in the NFL, but he knows the game so well. He's still been a part of the game, as an analyst for ESPN. He knows what he's doing. There will be some things he has to catch up on. But I think he would be a home run if they could get him. I do have to add, it's tough to know how serious this is. He was John Harbaugh's first defensive coordinator when he was hired by the Ravens, and then he became the Jets head coach. But John Harbaugh was getting interviewed and was asked about him, and he's like, why not? Could you imagine Rex coming back in here? I'm not ruling anything out. A guy like Rex, he's around the game, he knows the game. He's going to have to get updated a little bit with some of the scheme stuff, but I'll tell you, no one calls a better game than Rex Ryan. And that could just be John Harbaugh, tooting the horn of one of his old buddies, or just, it's tough to know how much credibility you can put on that. But who knows? I would love it if they went after him, but we'll see. There are 4 candidates that are kind of being talked about a lot more, and I think I have a main one that I'd like to see, but a couple of these guys I would be happy with. The main candidate is Anthony Weaver. He's been with the Dolphins. He's actually been getting a lot of head coaching interviews with the Bills, the Steelers. I think the Falcons interviewed him. The Ravens interviewed him. I think what's been kind of crazy about Miami is they invested so much into their offense, bringing in Tyreek Hill, bringing in an offensive-minded coach. But really, you look at the Dolphins last year, and when they were winning games, it was largely on the back of their defense. He obviously, getting head coaching interviews, has had a lot of respect around the league. So if they end up with Anthony Weaver there, I would be pretty excited about it. Another guy, Jim Leonard from the Broncos, he... you look at the Broncos defense right now, they're leading the league by a mile in sacks. I'd be pretty thrilled to bring in anyone with the Broncos. I don't know a ton about Denard Wilson. I know the Giants interviewed him a couple years ago. He didn't have a ton of success as the coordinator for the Titans, but the Titans don't have a lot of talent on defense either, so it's tough to really hold that against him. And then the last one, and this is an interesting one to me, is Durante Jones, defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator for the Vikings. It says he's probably an underdog for the job. He interviewed with Harbaugh earlier in the week. But what's interesting to me is like a lot of times when you're trying to find a new coordinator or position coach, it's like, okay, I want somebody who's done it before and is ready to try again with a new team, or I want somebody who's working under one of the best minds in the game. And I think that's what you have with Jones here is like, man, he's been with Brian Flores for a couple years. Brian Flores' Vikings defense is absolutely ridiculous right now. Like, they just make life awful for opposing quarterbacks. So I think if they can get him, that would be a huge win there. I think he'd be somebody who really can mix up blitz packages and utilize the Giants' elite pass rushers a lot better than what we've been seeing. So you guys comment below. Let me know which D coordinator you'd like to see. And then don't forget, please just like and subscribe on the way out. I'll be keeping you up to date on all of the future Giants moves this offseason, so don't miss out on that.